in Baltimore.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens should get a contract extension done at some point this offseason. The Ravens have made it clear privately and publicly, in fact, that they intend to do it. And I think it's a matter of time and numbers. I mean, I think if you're Lamar Jackson, you're probably looking to come in probably right behind Patrick Mahomes, maybe ahead of where Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson landed. And I think if that happens, that'll be a significant deal that'll help set the market for some others, including Josh Allen in Buffalo. You know, he's going to get a big deal at some point, probably this offseason. You know, these teams don't have to do these deals now, but the last couple of years we've seen teams extend their quarterbacks after 3 years, and I think it's a fair expectation that Buffalo and Josh Allen will come to some sort of agreement. Maybe they wait and see where Lamar Jackson ends up, and maybe they try and top it, but if they do, then Buffalo probably says, okay, fine, show us your MVP award, and we'll talk. And then that probably means he slots in behind Lamar Jackson. And Baker Mayfield, the Browns want to get him extended, assuming it's at the right price. This is probably not a quarterback that's going to be able to demand what the first two guys I was talking about will, but he should still be able to get a high-end quarterback deal. Think about something in the neighborhood of, you know, what Carson Wentz and Jared Goff got a couple of years ago, maybe a little bit higher considering a couple of years have passed here. But if they can come to some sort of agreement in that range, I think it's fair to expect Baker Mayfield to be extended this offseason. If not, they'll play it out. Fifth-year option and possible franchise. The team has control if they do want to wait.
So those are three young quarterbacks trying to figure out their future. Now we talk about an older quarterback who most of the conversation is about his past. We are 3 days away from the Pittsburgh Steelers opening camp, and this is a team that has a lot of questions heading into the season. One of them is the 39-year-old quarterback Ben Roethlisberger returning for an 18th year behind a revamped offensive line. There are reasons for the changes up front. The offensive line was awful last year. They were 28th in the league in pass block win rate, which was the lowest among playoff teams for last year. They also added youth to the offense in the first round, taking Najee Harris, the running back from Alabama, who scored more touchdowns than any other player in Alabama history. And so as I sort of sit back, just as I say all of that, just contemplate for a moment, most of the world views this as a team in transition. But if you were a team that's thinking about your future, Dominique, you don't have a 39-year-old quarterback, and you don't draft a running back in the first round. So they're behaving like a win-now team. Are they going to win now?
I don't think they are going to win now, but I do think this is the Steelers' culture. Like when Ben Roethlisberger got hurt a couple years ago and we were like, hey, this might be a good time to line up a new draft pick, they went and traded for a safety and went all in on that team with Mason Rudolph playing quarterback. That's just the culture of the Steelers, and I think it benefits them most of the time. But by the end of this season, I'm not sure that they're going to be happy with their decision to go all in on their aging quarterback.
Why do you say that?
Because I think that he's not getting any better. I understand how we're looking at Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and some guys who are playing deep into their 40s for Tom Brady. I don't see that happening for Ben Roethlisberger because so much of his game is built on his physical ability to take hits and stand in the pocket. And that's gone away. Also, his arm talent is not what it once was in that offensive line. I know they've got some new players, but there's no reason to believe that he's going to have a whole bunch more time. So it's hard for me to understand how they're going to put together a really successful team outside of just that defense being dominant. That's the only way they can go, in my view.
Rob Ninkovich, the conventional wisdom on this team is that they are basically the team that we saw at the end of last year, the last month of the season when they lost all those games. They're acting like the team that was 11-0. Like they remember that and they think they're just a move or two away from taking that in the next step. Which are they? Which are they closer to?
Look, I mean, I believe in the Steelers. I think that they can get back to that team that was 11-0 with confidence. And look, you look at what they were doing last year. They were a one-dimensional football team. They were last in the NFL in running the football. Big Ben, even if he stays the same, they are going to be a better football team if they can run the football, number one, and protect the quarterback. When you have a 39-year-old quarterback, or 38 last year, and you're ranked 28th in pass protection, that's not good. So for me, this year, 2021, they're ready to go, and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They still have the same head coach, and I think Tomlin's a great coach, and he gets those guys ready to go. So they're going to, I guarantee all this media stuff talking how bad they're going to be the worst team in the division is probably all over that locker room. And you better believe that he's going to have that team motivated and ready to play this year, because they're going to be just like they were when they were at 11-0, riding high in confidence, rather than what they were doing at the end of the year. So I believe in the Steelers.
Dan, final word.
I had a conversation with Pete Carroll when I was at Seattle camp a couple years ago about the concept of rebuilding, and he told me he doesn't believe in it. He said you go for everything you can possibly get every single year. The Pittsburgh Steelers operate that way. They are one of the great franchises in league history. They don't accept losing. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season as a head coach. I think if you tried to convince the Steelers that they're a rebuilding team or they're not as good as other teams in the division, they would look at you like you're nuts. That's just not how they think. They brought back Ben Roethlisberger with the intention to win. Now, we can sit here and pick it apart and say the roster doesn't look as good as Baltimore's or Cleveland's, and that's probably true. But they have a track record there in Pittsburgh of finding ways to win, and I think it would be foolish to count them out.
I am with that completely, and I'd love to talk about it further. But right now, I insist we talk about golf. Did everyone do what I did this weekend? Wake up real early and watch the British Open? Let's get into it yesterday, and it was all about one man, Collin Morikawa, just spectacular. He and everyone else in pursuit of that, the claret jug, but no one else could do the things this guy can do. This is Collin Morikawa on 8, 195 yards away. He hits his irons as well as any player in the world, any player in recent memory. Just look at that. That's from 195 away. And how about this? Give me the Michael Jordan shrug. Come on, why not, Collin? He would make the birdie putt from there. Now on 14 with a one-shot lead. The question about him has always been, does he putt well enough? Well, this weekend he definitely did. That gave him a two-shot lead. He also got out of trouble when he was in it, the very rare occasion he was in it. That is a tough lie on 15, but that's a really good shot from that fescue, and then it leaves him that putt for par. And when he rolled that one in, it was pretty much all she wrote. A two-shot lead going down the final stretch. The walk-up 18 was a coronation. Just needs to tap in here, and Collin Morikawa becomes the first player in major history to win his debut start at multiple majors. Did it at the PGA and now doing it at the British Open, joining Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth, and Bobby Jones as the only American players to win the Open before turning 25. He and Tiger the only players to win both the Open and PGA before celebrating their 25th birthday. Coming up with the Bucks on the brink, how much pressure is on CP3? We dive into that with RJ and Cassidy in just moments. Plus, the Cowboys open camp in just 2 days. Beyond an injury, we'll tell you what could doom Dak's season in Dallas. All that more as we get up with you on ESPN.